How y'all doing?
Good, Frank. How are you? Another week out of the way in practice. Anything else stand out to you, surprise you a little bit?
We finally dealt with a couple of bad days, and which happens with young kids. It's week 3, and you're asking them to compete physically and mentally at a level that they probably haven't. They've done before, just not every single day. And so we weren't very good on Monday. We were slightly better Tuesday, and then yesterday we did some film work, and I think our guys saw themselves. And that's what gets me excited about these kids. They saw themselves, and they didn't pout. They actually went on the court and competed real hard. So, but we finally dealt with some bad days, which I knew was coming.
Could you pick 12th? Does that sound about right? Do you use that as motivation?
I can care less. I had the great fortune of leading a team that was picked number 1, and by the end of January we were second to last. And by the end of the season we were one of the top 30 teams in the country again. It's the season is a roller coaster. Don't get me wrong, I'd much rather be in a place where everyone thinks we're real good and we're picked number 1. That means our fans will be excited. That means our players have a responsibility to stand up to. I'd much rather be on that side, but it's all irrelevant. It's whatever happens in October. Do any of you ever remember any relevant story in basketball in the month of October? I don't. So we got to deal with the season, and whether you're picked first or last, you still got to prepare and play every single game on that schedule.
Frank, what sort of resources, I mean, in terms of talent, do you have this year as opposed to last year?
We're bigger, we're longer, we're thicker. When we took the court against Kentucky last year, our starting five was 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", 6'4", 6'5". I looked out there and Kentucky's guards were 6'4" and 6'5". And I kind of sat back and I told my assistants, I said, we need to find some of those long guys like they got now. It's and our staff did a great job. They went out and identified guys that fit who we are, that just gives us better length, better girth. Now we got to teach those young kids how to play and utilize that length and that size.
Frank, how important is Brenton Williams to this team? I mean, on and off the court in a leadership role.
Brent has to. We all think, me included, that because he's our lone senior, he's supposed to be a team leader, and you have to. I pressure him into trying to do that sometimes, but he's got to be comfortable in his own skin. He's got to be the best Brenton Williams that Brenton Williams can be. He can't be someone that I ask him to be or expectations that others cast on him. He's been great. He last year was kind of a roller coaster of emotions for him. I started off the year playing, then he went through a stretch of the year where I couldn't put him in the game because he wouldn't defend. And then at the end of the year, scores 38, an SEC record for South Carolina basketball, a Colonial Life Arena record, 38 points, and it's kind of funny that I had. Everyone says I'm a defensive coach and that we played kind of scroungy offense. Because I hear all that stuff that said the two guys that owned the Big 12 scoring record are a 6'9" power forward and a 5'11" point guard. They both played for me. They both scored 44. The guy that owns the scoring record for South Carolina in the SEC happens to be a 5'11" guy that also played for me. So it's either our offense is a little better than advertised, or our players are better than advertised. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Frank,
Brent's been great. Brent's been great.
How did you get this reputation as defensive coach and scroungy offense?
Because I get mad at defense because we spend so much time on the defensive side of the floor trying to teach our techniques, and I give players freedom. I try to instill as much confidence as I can in players on the offensive side, and so I guess when I go through my moments, it's usually on the defensive side, so everyone's paying attention to me on the sideline rather than the game when we're on offense, so no one really sees what we do on offense. But I don't know. I really think that rebounding and defense has to be the heart and soul of your team if you want to compete for a championship, and that's where I really put all my focus and energies into.
Greg, you plucked the kid out of Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Brendan Williams. It was kind of a revelation for you. He scored some points. What do you anticipate moving this season?
Previous coaching staff signed him, and he played for them for a year, and then played for us this past year. And he grew up a lot. He's grown up a lot as a player. Him and Michael Carrera and our two Lithuanians, they're just so much better than they were a year ago. Brent has the ability to score. He can shoot. You don't score 38 points in an SEC game unless you figure out a way to put the ball in the basket. He's grown tremendously there. We need him to keep growing defensively. He's got to utilize his speed. See, he's not real big. So defensively, he's got to utilize his speed to create ball pressure, to take offensive guys further out from the basket. That way he can neutralize his lack of size. But he's gotten better. That, as a coach, that's all you can ever ask, is that kids grow within your program, and he's definitely grown.
Do you feel like you have a sense of what the strength of this team is going to be this year?